The Atlanta Falcons stunned the country when they selected quarterback Michael Penix Jr. with the 8th overall pick, and I'm here to tell you why it actually might make sense.
Right? Let's get this dude.
How's it going today? My name is Jesse McNamer, and welcome to Point of View. Before we get into it today, I just want to say we always appreciate your feedback and look forward to reading your comments like the one we've got here. Also, be sure to stay tuned to the end of this episode to see if you can guess today's trivia question down below. To today's topic, did the Falcons make the right move taking a QB with a top 10 pick? It seems pretty insane for a lot of reasons, but the people making these decisions get paid the big bucks, so there has to be some rhyme or reason to it, right? Let's get all the reasons it doesn't make sense out of the way first. Above everything, the Falcons signed Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million contract with $100 million guaranteed during the offseason. They committed to a QB for the next half-decade, so why would they be on the search for the next guy? There's also the fact that the Falcons aren't a complete team by any means and could have used that pick to boost their roster around Cousins. Rome Odunze fell right into their lap, and even if their offensive weapons aren't a top priority for improvement, that would have been a great addition. And of course, Penix will be 24 years old at the start of the season, and his rookie contract extends about as long as Kirk Cousins' contract, so Atlanta may not even get a great look at him until it has to decide on MPJ's 5th-year option. It even looked like team owner Arthur Blank wasn't too happy with general manager Terry Fontenot after the Penix pick was made. Here's what Fontenot had to say about the seemingly intense interaction.
We talk so much and have so many conversations, and I'm very animated. That's just kind of how I talk. But first of all, to make it clear, Arthur is very supportive. He's very, number one, he was very supportive going through free agency in regards to Kirk Cousins and the investment we made there. And he's very excited about Kirk. He's very excited about Michael Penix and doing that. We obviously talk about everything, and he's very, very excited about that. And we're fully aligned, and he's fully supportive. As soon as we made that pick, we were going through, and we're talking to every team. There's certain things that we're going to give up at certain spots. And so I was probably telling them, if we're here, we think we can get to here and get this particular player, we're going to have to give up a future one in this for that. And if we get to this spot, it's a different category of players. Now we can get it done for this. And so I was probably talking to him about those particular things. That's what I would assume. But we have so many conversations. But he's been very supportive and very excited about everything.
So if everyone is on the same page, what were they thinking? Well, for starters, Kirk Cousins isn't exactly a young buck anymore. He'll be 36 when the next season starts and is coming off an Achilles injury that ended his season. He hasn't been injury prone in the past, but that's the type of injury that can snowball into more. And even without the Achilles issue, age is a factor. Sure, quarterbacks are starting to play later in the career, and Kirk has done everything he can to stay healthy, as evidenced by the Netflix show Quarterback. But still, having a backup plan isn't a terrible idea at all. And that's another thing. Penix may not be a backup for long. The Falcons clearly feel he could be something special by taking him that high. Here's what Fontenot had to say pre-draft about how aggression and confidence play a role in who they select.
Some really good players could be staring at us. And if you got this impact dude right here that we know is going to make a difference, whatever position that's in, and then we got more of a need down here, right? Let's get this dude. That's where the discipline comes, to stacking the board correctly, having those players in the right categories, in the right buckets, so you can make those decisions. And there's other factors, because we also got to look at, again, we focus on character and makeup. And so do they check those? Because sometimes you might have a dude up there that doesn't fit what we're about. And that's where we have to have discipline too. That's why you always read the character before you start watching the tape. Because if you watch the tape first and then you read the character, you start making excuses, and it gets a little harder to go through it. So, but we want to make sure that if you have a guy up there that fits everything we're about, and then he is a major impact player, you're not going to reach in those areas.
So if they were looking for the best player who can help them down the line, maybe Penix wasn't such a bad choice after all. I'm not saying I would have done it, but we've seen somewhat similar situations work out before. In 2012, the Seahawks thought they were set at QB after signing Matt Flynn to compete with Tavares Jackson. Then they drafted Russell Wilson, who won the starting spot before the season began, and he goes on to win a Super Bowl and appear in another for Seattle. Then there's more recent examples like Jalen Hurts with Carson Wentz and the Eagles, and Jordan Love with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Now believe me, I get picking a guy in the top 10 is different than a late first or even a day 2 or 3 pick, but does that matter if you pick the right guy? After all, there are only a handful of QBs that can be franchise players, and to get one is the ultimate goal. Penix may have been the 4th quarterback off the board, but he could be that guy who sticks around for another 15 years. And too many people are acting like Penix wasn't awesome at Washington. In 2 years with the Huskies, he threw for nearly 10,000 yards and 67 touchdowns. He led them to a national championship appearance just a few months ago, and though they lost, they had won 21 straight games before that. The guy is just a winner. Just look at this play from the championship game. There's no panic as he looks off the defense to the right and comes back to the middle to throw a dart for a score. Penix is cool, calm, collected, and ready to play at the next level. And he brings the intangibles that you just can't teach. He's got a rocket arm, he can get out of the pocket, he can read and react to a defense, and he's a great team leader. He may lack in accuracy and touch here and there, but you know what? Those are things you can develop while in a professional organization. And there's no rush for him to get it perfect right away. He has time to refine his game and get it ready to be an NFL starter. You don't think that helped Jordan Love come out and throw 4,000 yards in year 1 as a starter? We have to preach patience with this pick, because while it may not help a lot this season, it could be the difference between irrelevance and perennial contention in the future for the Falcons. But don't get it twisted, I still think signing Kirk was a great addition that pushed the Falcons into the next tier of NFL teams. For more on how they can be Super Bowl contenders, check out our recent point of view. And the moment you've been waiting for, here's the answer to today's trivia question. We appreciate you tuning into this episode of Point of View, and we will see you in the next one.